July 13th, I believe it is. And we haven't spoken to one another in a couple of weeks because I've been traveling, I've been on the road. If you have been watching some of my videos, you may kind of have an idea of what I've been doing, but this video has kind of an unusual name. As you know, I always like to check and make sure that things are going live, and it looks like we are there, so we're looking good, everyone. So, yeah, I had a busy couple of weeks, a busy last 10 days. So I'd like to talk a little bit about this. You've seen some of the videos, but you didn't see what I've been doing over the last 2 days. And it was quite interesting. So let's jump right in. I have been on a trip, and of course, once the live stream starts, my nose starts to itch. You'll notice that my nose is looking really red because I have been out in the sun a lot. I have been outdoors these past couple of weeks. So where have I been? Well, I made a whirlwind tour. I went up to Canada, and then I came back down through Wisconsin, went to Milwaukee, and just arrived home this afternoon. So I barely had time to do anything. I threw some of the dirty clothes into the laundry, and I got some of the clean stuff that I you know, didn't go through. I packed, but didn't go through. I got that all out, but I haven't put everything away yet. So let's talk about how things have been going and what we did. So the first part of the journey, well, it's like a song by Americanism. The first part of the journey. So anyway, I went up to Canada, and my goodness, what a beautiful country. You know, I have been to Canada so many times until right up until the time they kicked me out and they wouldn't let me back in. And then I stayed away for uh, 4, almost 5 years. And so I finally went back twice now this year. But they do have beautiful parts to Canada. You know, if you've never been there, explore the US first because we have so much to offer. But they do as well, you know, and up in Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, um, beautiful areas over there on, Victoria and British Columbia, some nice places as well. But I was up in Ottawa this time and found so many wonderful, it was almost all water related, a lot of waterfalls and rapids and, hikes through the woods and the wilderness. And it was just so beautiful. And I still have one more. It was called Queen. Oh, no, I'm forgetting what it was. Queen something Falls. I'll look it up before I post the video, naturally. Um, Boy, it's going to bother me now. Now I have to look it up, right? What is the name of the falls um, in Ottawa? Queen Louise. No, it's not Queen Princess. That's what was throwing me. Princess Louise Falls. It was so pretty, and really, it's a tall one. But the weird thing was, it just started like this little stream, like a little creek that just runs through the neighborhood. You know, you have a lot of them like that too. They built in the concrete, and the water runs down from the when storms and that sort of thing. And somehow it built up and built up until it goes to this big waterfall. So it has to be a natural, had to be a natural stream at one point. Before we got our hands on it. When I say we, I mean people, not necessarily, uh, you know, Americans or Canadians. But and of course they built concrete and everything. But once they got towards that falls, it just started getting a little more wilderness and wild, and then it goes down this fall. Absolutely beautiful. And when you're driving down the street that runs in front of it, you go right past it. And I don't know how tall this thing is. Um, had to be 30 feet tall. I mean, it was a pretty good fall. So that was really pretty. And that's coming up, yeah, that video. I actually posted 2 videos of another place, beautiful place that I saw. And I did one with music and one without, because I listened to the music and there was just something about the thumpity thumpity thump about the music. And I thought, that takes away from that natural sound and the beauty of it. So anyway, so I reposted it in the second way. So why Hank Williams and Chris Stapleton? Well, and I came back down and I went to Milwaukee, my hometown of Milwaukee. Well, what was happening in Milwaukee? What I have been calling the Harley Davidson Fest or Harley Davidson Festival. It's really was called Harley Homecoming, is what it was. I went to the first one, the first big one that they had hard to believe, 25 years ago, was it? No, was it? Maybe it wasn't the first one. It was in 2002. It was 100 year, and I got my bike pinstriped at that one. And it's not such a big blowout now, but it really is not like that 100 year. But people love it, so now they made it an annual event. But it's so huge because it spreads throughout the city. All the different dealers have their celebrations, and it's not just little. These dealers have huge celebrations, and you'll see when I post a video a little later in the week, thousands and thousands of motorcycles, and that town just is a rumble and a thunder as the Harleys come to Milwaukee. And um, there's, I don't know, five, six Harley dealers in the Milwaukee area. They got uh, Milwaukee Harley, House of Harley, Suburban Harley. I don't know all the names. I don't live there anymore. But one I used to go to doesn't even exist anymore, House Harley. So we went to House of Harley. That was kind of my second place that I used to go to a lot, when I lived there. And it was great. I mean, it was really a great uh, festival there at House of Harley. And, I'll be doing a video on it. There was one really weird thing. This guy was driving around. It looked like it was on a suitcase or a folding table folded on end. It was just a block and it had two little wheels on it. And the whole thing folded. You had this block. It was like Inspector Gadget or something, and the handlebars flipped one way and the two wheels came out the other way and a seat flipped up from the inside. And you sit down and it was just like a little electric scooter. It was the weirdest thing to have at a Harley event. It wasn't even a Harley product. It was a Honda product, but it looked so funny. I had to, put that on video. So did that. And then we went down to the Harley Museum, and I'll be posting that as well. And there was this one cool thing. Remember those? They used to have them a lot at the fairs and carnivals. It's the big tube and the motorcycles are inside it and they start spinning around and centrifugal force keeps them to the wall. Well, this guy did. And darn it, I forgot my t-shirt in Milwaukee. So I don't know if I'll have to wait till next time I go to Milwaukee if I can have my friend mail it to me. But they had a thing where you could reach over with a $20 bill and this motorcycle guy would come by as he was, on his side, spinning on the inside of this giant cylinder. And he would come and he would grab that 20 and then he would come to the other side. And I mean, it takes what, 3 seconds to go around that tube, if that, 2 seconds. He would grab the 20, get a t-shirt, and then the next revolution, throw the t-shirt to you. So you're buying a t-shirt for 20 bucks, but in the most interesting, exciting way. I couldn't pass that up. So I went ahead um, and I got a t-shirt from that place. What was it called? The Tube of Death. Someone's Tube of Death. I'll have to get the t-shirt and you'll see it in the video. And that was really cool. And then they had a bike contest, and these custom bikes were just incredible. Um, I'm not going to try to describe them because like I said, I'll be posting in a few days and you'll see them for yourself. But amazing what people have done to these motorcycles. They're just absolute works of art. And people were coming from all over the country, certainly from the Midwest, and coming to this Harley Davidson festival. Well, the first night, Hank Williams Jr. What about Hank? Hank, why do we drink? Well, Hank Williams Jr. was canceled. And, oh, people were up in arms. But then Harley was quick to announce, or the organizers of the event, I guess, Harley would have had to been in working in conjunction with the event organizers. And they said right away they're going to refund. But there were a lot of tickets that were actually, my friend that I went to visit, he got hold of some of these and they were expensive, hundreds of dollars per each band. And it got you to the Hank concert and Chris Stapleton concert. And we had one, it was a GA plus, it was general admission plus. And the plus got you into this like VIP area. And it was so cool because in there, they had the same food and the same bars and everything, but only the plus people that bought that package could get in there. So there were no crowds. It was so cool. And the bathrooms, you go to these festivals, especially when there's thousands of people, and usually they have those, porta potty things. This was the cleanest restroom I have ever been at. They had two sets of these restrooms. They were better than, I mean, for festival wise, they were better than a lot of restaurants I've been to. They were clean and they smelled nice, and they had real sinks and real toilets. I know it sounds weird to go on about the toilet, but it was just neat to go into this VIP area, and they had concierge there to help you get around, and it was really really neat, really fun. And I'll tell you, so much music, and by the time Chris Stapleton came on last night, my dogs were hurting and my back was hurting, and he put on a show. He played for a solid hour and a half, never broke, never took, 3 minutes to talk. And let me tell you this story and about when I did this. It was song after song after song for 90 straight minutes. Then he came back and played an encore. So that was just a fantastic concert. But what happened was I was supposed to be in Milwaukee on Thursday night. And if you saw my video, I explained the whole thing. But my plane was delayed. I was supposed to be in Milwaukee by 7:53 Thursday. So I was supposed to be there. So I was going to go to, the homecoming, the Harley Fest, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and have a little bit of Sunday today before I came home. So they pushed back on time. It looked like flawless. Got through security, great. Got through customs, really great. They pushed back, and then we sat. There's going to be a delay. And I could swear they said it was a ground crew delay. But a little later, they said, well, it's weather in Chicago, because I was actually flying in to O'Hare. Not my favorite airport to start with, but I we waited and we waited. An hour went by, and the pilot said, we're going to go back to the gate. No reason sitting in the plane. We can let you out in the, so you can sit in the airport. So we did that, bring everything with you, we took our carry-ons, all that. We waited. We got to be 10 o'clock. I was supposed to be done with my flight and in Chicago before 8. Finally, they canceled. Well, by this time, everybody's scurrying to get replacement seats on replacement flights. There were 3 flights the next day. But of course, going from Ottawa to Chicago is not the hottest ticket in town. So I guess it's probably connections there. So there's 3 flights and they filled up like that from people on my plane. I couldn't get on a flight. So the earliest I could get was Saturday morning. And the reason I say it's not the hottest ticket in town, there are only 3 flights. It's not like they're going all day long. And so anyway, they had to then take us with an escort. We couldn't just grab our bags and go, because technically we had already been. It's one of these things in Canada when the U.S. Customs is in the Canadian airports. That way we don't have to go through customs when we get to Chicago. So legally, it's almost um, like you're in an embassy type thing. And by the way, I went to the American Embassy in Ottawa. What a beautiful structure. I'll be posting that. I have so much video footage. I just haven't had time to edit and put up yet. So it'll be a little late coming, but not that far, a few days after all the events. And anyway, so it's almost like you're going to the embassy, right? Once you go through U.S. Customs, you are considered to be in the U.S., even though you're sitting in the international terminal in Ottawa, which means we can't just go back, you know, leave, because else, if I would try to go out again, they'd say, well, wait a minute, you've already been through customs. How did you get back, and why are you trying to go through customs again? So we had to be escorted back, and then we had to go to the baggage claim and pick up our bags that had been, unloaded from the plane. And I had to stay another 2 nights, that night and Friday night. And then Saturday morning, I flew into O'Hare, and a good friend of mine that I have known for, I almost hate to say this, I have known him for over 50 years. Can you imagine knowing somebody for over 50 years and still doing things with them? But yeah, that's my friend Mike. And he came down from Milwaukee, picked me up at O'Hare, and I stayed with him. And we just had the time of our lives. And it was just such a great time. And so I didn't get a lot of souvenirs. I got the T-shirt I talked about, but I did get this Dunlop Tires was handing these out, and they were free. And they said they only had a limited amount. The girl there said, "Why don't you take one of these pins because we don't have a lot of them. When they're gone, they're gone." And it's a Dunlap D, and it says 2025 Homecoming. So that is really, really cool. I know you're seeing it backwards because in the live stream that's just the way it works. But so I do have that pin. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I do like that. I took some drink koozies and some other things. I just left them in Milwaukee because I don't really use drink koozies because I don't drink anymore, and I don't drink beverages from cans anymore because my beverage of choice now is just water. Now, I guess if I want a really cold bottle of water, I could put it in there. But I am officially, my friends, I am officially down 50 pounds. I just said I knew someone. This is the night of 50s. I knew someone for 50 years. I have lost 50 pounds. I'm thinking of, I want you to leave a comment for me. Let me know whether you're here now or you're watching this later. Should I do videos on my journey, how I lost 50 pounds at my elderly age, how I went about it? Do you think that's of interest to anybody? But, and staying healthy and staying vibrant and energetic and all that. Um, staying healthy, not, getting loose, droopy skin and all that. It was a fun journey, challenging, certainly. I had a lot of help along the way, but 50 pounds, and I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet because I want to get to about another 16, 17 pounds, I think is where I want to be. Then I'll be at my fighting weight, right? So that's what has been going on. And there's not a lot of people joining us right now live. So I don't have any comments tonight, unfortunately. So I just wanted to kind of tell you what's going on and what was happening in Harley. And then, boy, when it was time to leave, there was so much parking. A lot of places closed off and they say motorcycle parking only. And I was down on Lakeshore Drive in Milwaukee. So we just said, grab the first spot you can because of bikes like that. I saw a spot between two bikes. So I pulled and backed in and got that spot. I was on a really nice, I got to try out three different bikes. My buddy has a lot of motorcycles. So most of the time I was driving a 20, 2005 Deluxe. That's a soft tail, beautiful bike. It has that real classic look, the wide white walls with black and white. Oh, was that a nice bike? So I drove that most of the time. And then he let me uh, take his Street Glide out. He has a 2024 Street Glide. And then just the difference from that Deluxe Softail to the Street Glide was, well, first of all, the difference from my Sportster to um, that Deluxe was night and day difference. And then the difference from that Deluxe to the Street Glide was incredible. Um, just the smoothness and we're going up to 6 gears now, and it was just a nicer bike. And then I rode his Goldwing, and actually I preferred by a lot the Street Glide. Goldwing is Honda, but I have to say the Goldwing, the suspension it took those bumps. You didn't even feel it. So I did like the Goldwing for that, and I could see why he bought that. So when he goes on long road trips, he takes that instead of the Street Glide. That Street Glide, that is a nice bike. And so I had fun, riding all the different bikes. And anyway, I was telling you a story about when the concert closed, and everyone's heading out. You got thousands and thousands of people. You know what that's like. So I had parked on one side, um, the northbound side, and then there's a median in there. And then my buddy went around and parked across the street from me on the southbound side of Lakeshore Drive. Well, when it came time, so I thought I'd just swing around and then I'd catch up with him and his girlfriend, and then we'd ride back home together at the end of the night. I went up every single turnaround. The sheriffs were there. No U-turn, no U-turn, no U-turn. I had to go miles up the road. And those of you who, if you're ever familiar with Milwaukee, there's this windy road that goes up the hill to There's a hospital up there. And I had to take that road and then do a U-turn on there and come back down to the lake. By the time I got there, I think they figured I had got lost or left or they missed me or something. They started. And so we just met up with him later in the night. I figured I'm just going to go to his house. And unfortunately, they had gone to his house as well. And so we met. By this time, it was after midnight anyway. But it was nice because we've been tooling around Milwaukee, and at no point did we actually get on the interstate. So I got to take that Softail on the interstate and ride that a little bit, at some real speeds. So I just had a great time. It was so much fun. That concert was fantastic. And seeing all of, these Harley people. And a lot of times people say to me, oh, they're scary people. No, they're not. Well, they're wearing gang colors and they're wearing leather. People are there for one thing. They're there to enjoy Harley Davidson culture and motorcycles. That's what they're there for. So it's just fun. And, it was people watching. And yeah, I mean, there is some stuff that is absolutely R-rated and beyond at those things. But, that's some of the fun as well, right? I mean, it's an adult event. It's not intended for children to attend. But it was just great. I had such a good time. It's good to be home, and work starts again tomorrow. So that was the story of my week in a nutshell. I will keep catching up and getting all the videos out this week so you can kind of see what I was talking about and what it looked like. My friend Dave joined us. I hadn't seen Dave in 5 years since I left Milwaukee. Dave is a giant of a man. He's 6'7", 6'8". Um, Big guy, must go, I don't know, 300 pounds or more. And I'll tell you, when we wanted to get to a better view at that concert, Dave just led the way. He has police experience as a police officer, and he worked, a lot of security at concerts and things. He just knows how to get through a crowd. And, um, and people, when you got a big guy like that, he's a nice guy and he's a charming guy, but I think people look and they see his size and he has this grizzly beard now, and they're probably a little intimidated. But anyways, neither here nor there. We got to a really nice place to watch a concert. So I'm being asked, am I in Milwaukee or Naples? I am in Naples now. I returned home today. Flight went without a hitch. I actually flew Southwest back, and I don't like what Southwest is doing. I think I'm going to have to do a complete video on that. I just don't like what Southwest is doing. They're just going to become another generic airline because they're taking away all the things that made Southwest Southwest, right? The open seating, the two free bags, all that stuff they're taking away. They always used to, send a couple of times a year. I would always get a little letter, thanking me for being a Southwest customer to have like 4 free drink coupons. That doesn't matter to me because I don't drink anymore. But it's the thought as a consumer. Maybe I could take those and give them to someone else when I get to the airport. Hey, are you gonna be having cocktails on the plane? But they don't do that stuff anymore. And starting soon, they're going to not have the open seating. They still had it, and we had a really half full plane or half empty, depending on how you look at it, which was great because then people had full rows. As it turns out, a young lady came and sat in my row. So she was on the window, I'm on the aisle. There's still a middle seat in between. Who cares? I wasn't going to stretch out over 3 chairs or 3 seats, but it was comfortable. But I'm kind of sorry to see what Southwest Airlines is doing. So, and Double D, hey, welcome back. Said, yes, I'd love to hear about your weight loss journey and what changes I made to my health. Oh, I look great. Thank you. Thank you. I made a lot of changes to my health, a lot of changes. So, and they're not hard. I mean, I sometimes it's challenging, but I wouldn't say it's difficult. And, people envision it to be harder than it is. And people look at it like the worst thing in the world is, you know, not to eat a custard pie or something. And sometimes the trade-off for those things is your health and, not having inflammation in your body and not having aches and pains anymore. And walking around through life 50 pounds off makes a difference in the way you move and you're light on your feet and your energy and all of that. It just changes. So I don't want to get on a soapbox right now, but yeah, if you think I'd be interested, I guess I'll make the videos. If people want to watch them or not, that's up to you, right? So I will do that. But it is coming now, with 25 minutes now, and I think I am ready to wrap. So everybody, once again, I know you have other things you can do with your time. I do appreciate you spending some of it with me, as always. I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Please watch the videos that are coming up, and you'll get a better idea of what the Harley Homecoming was all about. And I hope that you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed making the video. You're not going to enjoy it that much because it was so much fun. But anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you next time. I'll be here next week Sunday at 7 o'clock. No, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Eastern. Okay, 7 Central. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.